Welcome to the Blue Collar Hippie podcast. I'm your host, Tom Burton, also the inventor of the grip mat. Today, on our very first episode, we have Rocco, who just texted me that he got in an argument with his boss and he is quitting. So he's on his way to the shop right now to pick up his tools, and stay tuned to see what happens.
I've been a mechanic for 27 years. I'm a father of three. My kids are 3, 6, and 9 years old. My wife's a stay-at-home mom, and my kids are homeschooled. And that in itself comes with challenges of being the sole provider. And for the last few weeks, particularly, it's been quite challenging in the shop that I'm in because they're very unorganized, and it makes it difficult for me to make my income without being stressed out about it. And that's a bulk of what I guess I've been feeling on top of my normal everyday problems with, being a dad and a husband and having to go home and play those roles too, which is also quite challenging, fun and exciting all at the same time.
So real quick, Rocco, you are the sole provider and you're a mechanic. You got 3 kids. There's a lot of pressure on you to make money so your family can survive. One time we talked, there was like a snowstorm, which it looks like there's like no snow there now. You're lying about
no snow. It's all gone, dude. In fact, I got my air conditioner on.
You do?
I got my AC on right now, dude.
So anyway, there was a snowstorm that happened, and the roads were really bad, and your boss asked you come in for work and wanted you to basically drive these dangerous roads and fix cars.
Yeah. So Middle Tennessee doesn't experience a whole lot of snow, and I mean the 3 winters I've been here, I've experienced snow, but when it usually comes sporadically, not 5 to 8 inches all at once overnight. This area is just not equipped for that. And it hit really hard.
What happened? Yeah, pretty freak storm where that happened.
Yeah, it's like a big deal. The weekend leading up to this storm, everybody was in the grocery store, literally buying up groceries. It was so busy, and I'm like, why is it so busy? And my wife's like, because of the storm. I'm like, wow, it must be really bad. And then I wake up and, sure as heck, dude, it's really dangerous outside. And I'm 27 miles from my job, and the freeway was really dangerous. And the only other way is basically the road I'm on now, which is a 2-lane road. And it's slick as ice. And I have a 2-wheel drive truck with street tires, and I'm not risking my life and my truck just to drive 27 miles to work. And my boss was like, I made it just fine. I'll come get you. And I'm like, no, that doesn't make any sense, dude. Nobody's going there today, And I was confused, and I had to explain to him that this is not something that happens regularly in this area. It's not just us. Everybody's going to be closed. Everybody that has a car that's broken is going to understand, we're kind of all in this together. Why are you forcing me to go to work today? I'm not comfortable driving 27 miles in the snow. Also, he's from Minnesota, so to him, I guess it's not a big deal. And he's got a 4-wheel drive truck. I don't know. So, yeah, that was definitely frustrating.
Yeah, and you felt like he wasn't being very empathetic. And he was basically prioritizing work over safety.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly how I felt. It's honestly, yeah. Why are we doing this, dude? For what? To fix cars that we can't even deliver? We can't even, the roads are iced. How are people going to get there to pick up their cars?
Right.
Even if I do get them fixed.
Well, then people listening, if anyone's listening, the last call with Rocco, basically, I think you were driving home after getting a few more job interviews, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, I guess one thing, I kind of said this over the phone, one thing I wanted to talk about was the concept of the motivation of the action that you took. So before the whole snowstorm, you didn't really like the job, yeah?
Yeah, there was a lot of things basically that I was allowing to make on. There was a lot of things I was
right. So I guess one thing I want to take note on, and I've done this countless times, but what I'm seeing in this is that you're tying action with anger. You don't do action until you're pissed off enough to do it. So and I think that there's a correlation that we have with that is when we actually believe that, we continue this pattern of, well, I'm not going to do any action until I'm pissed off enough, sad enough, irritated enough, where the thing is, if we, to me it might be a presence thing, if we are fully present and then we can feel how things are heavy or light, and okay, this job is pretty heavy because my boss is being rude. He's not really considering my safety and all these other things. So then, therefore, I can go, apply for a job. And because like what I'm seeing is like you're kind of just in like, fuck it, I'm gonna go find a new job versus like, this job's not for me, I'm gonna go find a new job. So it's like, can you feel the two different energies of that?
I do. I do feel those actions. I've only been at this job 20 weeks, dude, and I actually had issues back in right around Halloween time, and I confronted my boss about these things and asked about changes, and changes were starting to be made, but kind of half-heartedly, which kind of kept me there longer. And I think the frustration got is I was waiting to see when the changes were going to be implemented, and then I didn't realize how much time had passed until this much time had passed. And when my boss went on a conference for 2 days, and I didn't find out until 15 minutes before the start of my shift on Monday, that's when it got really bad, because he left me in a busy shop with one service writer that does not know how to be a service writer in a busy shop. So that was the cascade of the downfall over the last 3 weeks: the week before the storm, the week during the storm, and then the week after, which I think is this week, which just my finances tanked, and I couldn't keep up no matter how hard I tried. And I had to do something. I had no choice. My back was against the wall. And it was definitely out of anger, because I was like, at this point, I'm fucked. Pardon my language. But like, I have nothing else to do. I need to do something. I got 4 other people depending on me. And today I'm on my way to pick
up. I guess what I want to just kind of like highlight this is like, usually the thing is, if we can just like remain in peace and remain calm, like we can still have the action. I'm not saying remain in peace and continue working with a bad boss. You can still have the action, but like what'll happen is no one has ever said, I'm sorry for what I said. I was completely calm. No one has ever said that. I'm sorry what I said there. I was so angry. I was drunk. I was pissed. I was sad. Whatever. But like the anger, like the thing is, you're reacting, and that right there is the little problem. Is like when you're reacting to, and because you're getting irrational.
Right. This is so what you're saying, as you're saying this stuff and I'm thinking about this, it makes sense. Every time I've made great action in my life, it's been to the point where I'm fed up, and I got to do something about it out of anger. That's the only way I know how to do stuff. That's how I've been, I guess, taught, either directly or indirectly, or that's how I've learned. So I don't know another way. I'm
now, Rocco,
to try and figure out.
I think sometimes I've heard you say things before, like, that's the only way I know how to do something or whatever. And that's that's also the only way you've ever like recognized. Right. So now that you've like recognized it, you're like, oh, okay. It's the same thing with like fixing a truck or fixing a car or whatever. When we're like, well, I've always done it this way, and someone shows you a new way, you're like, oh, okay, I recognize that I can do it the way. So I guess don't feel like pigeonholed, because you're like, I've only done this. This is the only way I know how to do it. Like, this is the only way you've ever like recognized to do it. So the only way to do it differently is we have to recognize that there's a different option.
Right. I honestly didn't know there was a different option, dude, up until recently. Most of my life, that's been my go-to. All right, things suck. It sucked really bad. This is the time I make my action. That's just the way I've lived my life. It's only until recently that I realized I don't have to be that way. I could do things differently, and now I'm just trying to figure out.
It's like when you are in this position, when you're. I mean, I'm sure if anyone is listening, there's been similar situations where if you quit your job out of anger, like, fuck it, I'm going to find a new job. You may be compromising on the new job, and also you may be glorifying the new job way more than what it is. So then, therefore, because you're in this irrational state of mind, then therefore, like, we're not able to get a job with a rational mind that actually is more suitable. And then we potentially will compromise, and like the negotiation is completely different. As someone who's like basically desperate to leave their job and get a new job, compared to the person who's like, I'm completely calm and I can see, okay, yeah, this new job's really not worth it. Like, it's actually going to be worse for me than my current situation. Like, temporarily it might be better, but the thing is, when you leave in a storm and you're pissed off, like when it comes to the new job, you're going to ignore so many red flags. because you're just trying to get away from.
That exact situation is how I got to the job I left. I was so irrational about the last job that I took the shop that I'm at now that I'm leaving. And I didn't see it till basically afterwards, and I just kind of tried to make the situation better. This time around, I remembered that, and I did my best to not duplicate it.
So like that's like the perfect example of just like
I think it's a better step.
You being like more present and calm and in the moment is going to like prevent future issues. Do you see that? Where like if you're able to like, so like this
Right.
new coming job,
Yeah.
being calm and in the moment and be like, I can foresee like something coming up, then you can, prevent any like future damage. It's just like a car. It's just like a car. Like if you don't fix it properly the first time, I'm sure you've seen mechanics do that. They kind of like cut corners too fast, and then
they just put bigger band-aids on the problem, and it's not fixing the problem. It's just catching more blood. Eventually, it's going to fill up.
Right.
You gotta sew the wound up properly.
Yeah. Okay. So now you're going to the new shop, right?
So I'm going to the old shop right now to meet the tow truck, to put my tools on the truck and in my truck, and then we're heading over to the new shop, which is a dealership, to drop off my tools so I can start Monday, which is actually a pretty exciting opportunity for a lot of different reasons. I sat down and wrote down all the pros and cons going from an independent shop to a dealer, and right now at this point,
another thing I want to kind of point out with the idea of like doing this out of anger, like I can feel like your presence is like more calm, but like the idea of doing this out of anger, you'll still have that potential mindset of like when you drive by that shop or like something comes up from that boss, you'll be like, fuck that guy. God, he's such an asshole. But really, like, so the thing is, you feeling negative, like, it's still hurting you. So, like, when you can, like, basically, you're like, when you can just look at it more from a neutral perspective, is like, okay, this is just not the job for me. And, like, the way I need to be communicated with, the way I need, have a boss or whatever, is I need to, where I'm at now is much better communication. So like things you need to be like holding in your body that like negativity.
I fully agree with that because you don't know if and when paths will cross again. So it's always best to leave things as neutral as possible.
How'd it go when you telling your boss that you wanted to quit?
It was really it happened via text message. So it was very simple because I'm also dealing with other stuff in my personal life that caused me to take 2 days off in a row, dealing with health issues with my wife, which is the priority of why I took the day off yesterday to begin with. I just maximized my day and went on job interviews as well. So when I called in, I informed him that I had to be there, I had to take my wife to urgent care. She had a tooth infection, yada yada, and she's not well. I have to take care of the kids, all that good stuff. And then I used that excuse today because I knew I got a new job and I just didn't want to deal with facing the music today. And that's when he had called me and then texted me and started saying, hey, you have cars taken apart here. I need you here today. And that's when I said, I really don't have cars taken apart there today. This is not working out. I'm going to come pick up my tools. And he has not responded yet. But I'm on my way there now to actually have that confrontation with him. Dude, I got to my fitness. I'm not happy about it. I don't like the way things ended. It sucks. This is not how I intended for things to go down, but for whatever reason, this is how it goes down. At the end of the day, I got to take care of my family. Once I walk away from this shop and drop my tools off, I didn't make any money this week. By the time I got home Thursday night, according to his books, I only had 18 hours booked. I'm supposed to have 60 hours on the books by Friday. And that's what prompted me to take these 2 days off is no matter how hard I worked, I wasn't going to get to my goal. And I had to change and do something because I got to pay rent next week. And once I'm done here, that's my next issue. So it's going to be fun. I have all these feelings inside of me, and I don't feel bad. I feel like these are old feelings that are kind of still there, and these are new feelings.
You said something like you're on your way to the shop to have that confrontation. So we can switch that by just saying you're on the way to the shop to have that communication.
Yeah.
This does not have to be combative. And also, like, the thing is, if he is ready to be combative, you do not have to be combative.
Right.
And the thing is, like, at this point, like, there's nothing,
Right.
like, there's nothing more that you can really get out of it by combativeness. There's no advantage that you can get. It's not like you gotta like physically fight him to get your tools back. You gotta, like, there's no negotiation. Like, the negotiation is like, you take your tools, you're gone. So the idea of, like, you telling him, well, you're an asshole, you're a bad boss or whatever, like, there's no progress. Really, that's just going to be like a regression. That's really going to be hurting you more than anything.
Right. It's pointless to say, because at the end of the day, okay, I made someone feel bad and I walked away forever. That gets me absolutely nowhere.
Going into this with a mindset of, like, this is a
definitely not
confrontation,
something I want to do.
That's going to feed the next tense situation that needs to be a confrontation. So now you're, like, basically feeding the idea of this can actually just be a communication. And I have the ability and the strength to remain calm. So this is, like, the perfect time because you, like
right.
When we're talking, there's been a few times you said, like, well, how do you practice that? Or how do you know, like, it's easier said than done, or, you know, where, like, this is the perfect time to, like, you can actually put this in action. Yeah, I mean, that's okay to try. Like, you're about to do it. Like, you're not trying, like, you are. Like the thing is, there's no, like, you're not trying to be calm. Like, Rocco is calm. You are calm. Rocco is communication. Rocco's not confrontation. So there's, like, you don't even have to try. Does that make sense? This is like the greatest. Like, I'm so excited for this. Like, it's like a perfect.
Right. Yeah.
You're about to, like, go in and, like, quit your job, and, like, talk to your boss or whatever. Yeah, because when you told me, like, I wasn't fully understanding, like, the speed of this, because you were like, yeah, this issue with my boss, like, max 2 days later, yeah, I'm on a job interview. Like, next day, getting my tools. I'm like, getting your tools to the car? Getting your tools. And, yeah. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like, with that anger, you're taking action fast.
Quick,
what I'm saying is, like, with the calms, like, when you're in the centered calm mode, like, you can still take rapid action to change your life. So what's cool to see is, like, people in this situation, Rocco, would be like, well, it all worked out because I ended up getting that job that I really liked. And it's almost like justifying them being angry, where you could just still get a job that you liked and not have to be, you know, in this angry mode. And really, they're only really, like, motivated to do action when they're angry. Where, like, if you realize that you can remain calm and then still have action, you can have action all the time. So the thing is, you're having action in your job now. You still remain calm, and you understand that you can have action when you are calm. The next thing can change. You know, maybe like, this is a tough conversation with your boss. Maybe there's a tough conversation you want to have with your wife, avoiding. Maybe it's a tough conversation with a family member or a friend. So the thing is, you can still have the action. And also, you can still have the mindset of, like, this is communication, it's not a confrontation.
This whole situation, this whole thing I've been going through is very eye-opening, because I've been becoming more aware of all of this stuff, and I've been trying to put it into practice. I haven't been trying, I've been putting it into practice. And reflecting on how I've dealt with situations like this in the past, just 2 years ago compared to now, I'm proud of myself, dude. I'm doing things differently. And it's helped. You have helped, and my wife have helped. And having you guys as a support system to help me see those things has been truly amazing, and I appreciate it. I allow myself to be proud of myself. Yeah, I feel pretty good about myself, man. Like, I've been putting a lot of work into me as a human being. I've been putting myself on the back burner since I've had kids for a long time. And I realized that at my 43rd birthday, maybe like a month or two before my 43rd birthday, and I just turned 44 in December. So I've had about a year of me focusing on me and trying to put myself first and I'm proud of all the changes that I've been making for me, not for my wife or for my kids or for anybody else. I'm doing it for me first, because if I'm not happy, how can I be happy for my kids? And I like where I'm going, and I want to do it better. I see how far I came in a year, and I want to double that this year. I want to be completely, I'm changed for 44, but I want to see a bigger difference for 45.
Like you were on the back burner, right?
Yeah, I've been putting myself on the back burner for several years since I've had kids with my wife, and because I've been focusing on everybody else's needs, not my own. And someone said to me, there's only one person looking out for you, and that's you. And it's true. And you don't realize that until you've run yourself into the ground and you're burnt out, and you're too busy doing things for other people, but nobody's doing anything for you, including yourself. So that's when I started changing things around and doing things for me. 43 to 44, that's where I've been focusing on. And like I said, I want to double that for 45.
Yeah. That's cool. Because like, Rocco, we talked about this a bit before, but when you have kids and you put yourself on the back burner for your kids, you're teaching them that they deserve to be on the back burner.
Yeah, I remember that talk. I remember that conversation.
So when you're prioritizing you, and that means you're showing them not to self-sacrifice. Now, obviously, you're the father, you're the parent, you need to provide for them. Like there's a balance of not self-sacrificing and not being selfish. You're not to the point, well, it's the weekend, I can go out and drink if I want. You're not doing that. But you're also, but on the other side of you're not with the mindset of I need to put everyone else before me. So, congratulations for that. That's amazing.
Thank you.
We talked about how important that is, because you making that subtle shift of prioritizing you first, that subtle shift can impact who your children marry, who your children want to date. Because if they're chasing someone that they feel that they need to people please, they're going to get sucked right into a narcissist. If they are someone who's no, I'm going to prioritize myself, this isn't feel good, I don't want to do it, that those narcissists will not be around them. So that's huge.
Yeah, and coming from a guy being raised by two narcissists, it's probably a good thing that I'm teaching my kids to do the opposite.
Yeah. The thing is, in my family, there's been quite a bit of narcissism. I always feel like there's always a parent that's more leaning towards the narcissism, and then there's a parent that's leaning towards the people pleaser. But the thing is, there's a people pleaser and a narcissist on both sides, and it's interesting to see where it's coming from my grandparents, and and also how it's in my aunts and uncles, their siblings, and at first it does feel very scary of oh my gosh, there's this narcissism inside me, and as you I was listening to this narcissist or whatever, and I knew everything that he was saying. I could speak more in depth in the video than what he was saying, because I've had it for my entire life too. So the thing is, because you have this trait, you're you are an expert at this, and then once you are a higher awareness, you can spot it very fast.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll start to see okay, I've seen this in my kids. Okay, honey, we got to talk, because this is coming from us. It's coming from you and your wife. So if
right.
You're being the narcissist, or she's being the narcissist, and you're being the people pleaser, okay, why are we doing this? All right, brother. Okay, I'm gonna let you do your thing.
Rocco just got to the shop where he's quitting his job. He has a tow truck and he's getting all of his tools and he is leaving. So stay tuned and watch for our second episode for when Rocco gets back in the truck after just talking to his boss. So thank you for watching. The ending was a little bit awkward because we had a recording audio issue, but thank you so much for staying tuned. Ciao.